And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
What makes us omniscient? Have we a record of omniscience? We are the strongest nation in the world today. I do not believe we should ever apply that economic, political, or military power unilaterally. If we had followed that rule in Vietnam, we wouldn't have been there. None of our allies supported us. Not Japan, not Germany, not Britain or France. If we can't persuade nations with comparable values of the merit of our cause, we'd better re-examine our reasoning.
Oh, but there's always a coalition of the willing. Willing to what? One criticism that I've gotten for Freedom's Phoenix was my willingness to allow everybody to have their say. Well, what they didn't understand is that that was the strength and the uniqueness of Freedom's Phoenix, to have a neocon, socialist, collectivist, fascist, communist, progressive, whatever the heck we rule you view on there without fear. Without, worrying about what people are going to say. It's just more information. This is how they think. I select my guests that way a lot, too. Tomorrow we'll have 2 hours. 2 hours with Karen Kwiatkowski. Karen was a colonel in the Air Force in the Pentagon. She was there when the explosion 9/11 happened, whatever the heck that was. She was there when Rumsfeld and Cheney and those guys are doing their March 2. She was writing under an assumed name what was going on. And in their arrogance and hubris, there was no way that they thought that it couldn't be a woman. So while she's sitting right there, she's exposing what they're doing with Colonel Hackworth's help on his site. And, of course, she writes for Lou Rockwell a lot. She'll be one of the writers for our new magazine. Now, what happens when you have a ton of stories that are by, a lot of the lamestream media, the media so last century? A good example, here's another one. CIA operative appointed to run al-Qaeda-connected Libyan rebels. I'm so shocked. On Saturday, McClatchy reported that Khalifa Hifter, a former Gaddafi military officer, was appointed to lead the rebel army supported by the United Nations, the United States, and the Globalist Coalition. These guys, they travel in and amongst themselves as they're just interchangeable. If you took the 52 cards that they had of the bad guys they were looking for in the deck of cards in Iraq, and you got to look at how many of those, had paychecks coming to them from the CIA. Yeah, I remember going through that one time. I don't even keep track anymore. Then you have Kucinich coming up, showing a pair saying, hey, we are not lapdogs for the president. In a recent House debate on the president's war powers, Congressman Dennis Kucinich delivered a fiery, impassioned speech in support of ending the Afghanistan war, now the longest in American history. It's interesting to see, will he run against his own party's incumbent president? I don't know. When I was doing right in the middle of the Ron Paul Lovolution, 08, 09, I'm sorry, it was 07, 08, I was on the Air America affiliate here in Phoenix. Now, I just did a weekend show then because I was busy. I said, look, man, I can just do a midday Sunday thing if you want. Well, of course, there were a lot of, it's Air America, so Democrats. The ones that would listen to my show and really had a lot of good things was supporters of Kucinich. They were, and for a lot of the same reasons but mostly anti-war. So it was as Obama, the nomination went, they start to filter over to that, and I'm going, this isn't going to happen, right? Well, we have other things that we need to do too, and all this. Well, we talk about philosophy and so on. I'm nice to the left as I'm nice to the right. Let them have their say. It's not that I seek absolution from anyone. It's not that I seek endorsement. It's not that I seek agreement. I just seek understanding. Government will recruit them our way. Collectivism in and of itself is the biggest danger. Are we that omniscient? Does our government, are they that smart? Or should we have this kind of power to act this unilaterally? That's Robert McNamara from the movie The Fog of War. McNamara was, a big boy in the Kennedy and the Johnson administration. So this is just, people that have been, they know this doesn't work. Now, of course, that doesn't stop them from doing it anyway. But now we're looking at, what's another story here? Israeli minister proposes Gaza artificial island. Israel is considering building an artificial island, I might as well call it a prison, with sea and airports off blockaded Gaza as a long-term solution to shipping goods into the Hamas-run Palestinian enclave. Okay. Egypt's military issues interim constitution. Oh, that was a freedom document, I'm sure, coming from the military. Egypt's military rulers on Wednesday issued an interim constitution under which the transitional administration will run the country until elections allow power to be returned to an elected government. I mean, listen to all the words there. It's all about the power. It's the ring. It's the lever. It's not about who is there. It's the power. The power will be there. It's just who has it. Who gets to wear the ring? The military, the represent the new government, Western powers, the banks. I mean, it's always the power's there. Make no mistake. There's going to be some power to rule you. It's just who wields it. It never occurs to them. And even if it does, man, it is to be avoided. People retain the power themselves over themselves as individuals, not, I retain it over somebody else. I got it for me. There's a story about there's a woman that was gang raped. At least that's what she's claiming. She was gang raped in Libya, and she's facing charges for slander. The saga of Emin al-Abidi, the woman who burst into a Tripoli hotel full of foreign reporters Saturday and told the story of her gang rape at the hands of pro-Gaddafi militiamen. Well, when she did that, what did the Gaddafi regime there do? Oh, slander. They would never do that. I don't know if they did or not, but I mean, if you don't have somebody trying to rule people, these things don't happen. Because what she's really protesting against. Somebody thinks that she belongs to them and either demonstrated it, in the form of trying to rape her or raping her, or she wants to resist it by claiming that they did rape her. If you look at the kernel, at the root of all of this stuff, it's always about who rules over, controls other people. So whether she was raped or not, it's just a symptom of a much larger problem. And, of course, just bad guys being bad, I'm sure. Uganda says it would consider granting asylum to Gaddafi. Uganda would consider an asylum application from Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi as it would for anyone seeking refuge in the East African country, a minister said on Wednesday. And we're in the middle of this mess. We caused this mess. We are assaulting in every way possible, economically, spiritually, intellectually, sexually. We are molesting an entire region and the planet. And we wonder why they hate us. They, them, those. Whoever they are. I just think that they just soon leave us alone. I tell you what, if you guys just go away, we'll leave you alone. No. You want to kill us because you hate us? Why? Because we don't like your flag. Whatever. Quit bombing people. Quit doing regime change. Quit socially and economically engineering them with a soldier with an M16 standing on the corner. Quit. Then we can talk about the 5 or 6 people left in the world that want to kill us. Then we'll talk about it. More tools we're going to have. We'll talk about that when we come back.